Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans, for fans. Suzuka was the racetrack, Japan was the country, and it was a snooze fest. And we're going to unpack that snooze fest with Tristan in the house. Hello, mate. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
And we're joined by another teacher, because teachers have nothing better to do on holidays. We're joined by friend of the pod, Shane Freer. Hello, Shane. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Shane is renowned for telling a really long story, Tristan. So
good, because we just had Sam in.
Yes.
Who loves writing long comments.
Yes, that's
on
true.
Everything, so it's like that in person, isn't it?
That is very true,
I
yeah.
know how I feel about that now. I look forward to it. Considering nothing happened on the weekend,
It's the perfect time.
it's the perfect time
Because
to
we-
have someone just fill space.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Great.
Shane's famous for using the podcast. He will listen to it of a night time.
Yep.
And generally, 5 minutes in,
Oh, I might sometimes make 10 minutes.
he uses our voices as soothers
Oh,
to help him fall asleep. I don't know whether it's a compliment
That's like...
or the ultimate criticism.
Nah, that's quite creepy, isn't it?
No, well,
A little bit.
It was creepy at camp
It's a
when
little bit.
Roger's on the bunk
It's
below
a little,
and Roger's
and you can
voice
hear
is...
yourself. That's weird. Yeah, that doesn't...
but I take it
well with
as
me.
we've got beautiful voices,
Oh,
Tristan.
yeah.
Whereas I don't look at it as we're really,
It's
really
like
boring
Yeah,
people.
or in danger of being stalked.
Yeah, we'll get into a few
Yeah.
of the F1 histories with Shane in a minute. But before we get into that, we like to start off with a race ranking. We get into something a little serious. Then we'll do an opening question.
Yeah.
Where's your race ranking starting for this one?
This is going to be harsh because we mentioned it last week. I'm going to give it a 4. Like it's a.
What did we mention last
We
week?
mentioned last week about 5 is just I'm happy to watch it.
Oh, yes. Oh, so you
And
weren't
anything-
even happy to watch it.
It is, for me, it is straight off the bat, it's a 4. It's a fail.
You didn't want to watch it?
It's a fail. I found myself tuning out.
Oh.
I was just saying to you, right, I've just been watching a new Netflix series. I could not take my eyes off the screen this afternoon for 57 minutes. I was glued to the screen. Yeah.
Oh, see, I really enjoyed the race.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
But in terms of it being a good race, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But I was enthralled the whole time, and so I'm happy to give it a 5.5 to a 6.
Really?
Because I still enjoyed sitting there for the 1 hour and 45 minutes or however long the race went for.
Yeah.
Because I was just enthralled with how McLaren are going to go and do it. Now, ultimately, at the end, I was incredibly disappointed because that never came off. But that possibility the whole time for me, I didn't mind it. Shane?
Yeah, no, sorry, I gave it a 3. I'm not up with your scoring system of 5 being... I still wanted to watch it, but just nothing happened. It just went round and round in circles. A bit like Murray Walker. And the 12th man would say, and I won't swear, but he said... About a crash happened. He said about times the cars have been going around and round and round in circles for hours. So
that brings us to Shane and his Formula One history.
Okay.
Tell us, Shane, where did Formula One start for you? How did you get into this wonderful sport?
it's a really hard one to really go back because I guess it really popped into your head around when Adelaide. The F1 come to Adelaide, so that was 1985, and then in 1986, it really sort of captivated Australia when Nigel Mansell's wheel blew up and he lost the championships.
Really? So that captivated Australia?
Well, it did. Well, I can still remember where I was that day. I was only year 7, I think. But
yeah, right.
The Tatura Tennis Club. There was a tournament on, and all the adults were watching it in the bar, and it was amazing to see that the groans or disapproval when his wheel blew up, or the sadness, because for some reason everyone wanted Mansell to win a world championship. On and off then, from then a little bit. Obviously your Prost and Senna sort of years, you sort of, and it was limited coverage in Australia, so you didn't really get much coverage. And around that time you had Wayne Gardner getting around on the motorbike, so you sort of watched a bit of motorbikes, and then sometimes the F1 was on after it, so you might sit there and watch it.
Yeah, right. Family into it?
No. Well, my son comes to... Well, obviously, he's happy to go to Singapore to a Grand Prix or go to Melbourne, but, he didn't sit out watching it the other day with me, so...
But what about you as a kid? Was your father into it, or do you have family members into it?
Mum was into the motorbikes a bit, so I guess sometimes then you watch sort of the 500cc and then, no, not really.
Favourite driver of all time?
Oh, look, I'm a Seb Vettel fan, so obviously, Senna was... obviously one that, when he went to Williams that year, I was so happy because I'd been a bit of a Williams fan, and then obviously that ended in tragedy. And I guess last year I was lucky enough to go to the Imola on the 30th anniversary of his death, and that was a pretty moving sort of place to be at that stage, yeah.
Shane always tells me he doesn't have a good memory for these things, but I always find...
Sounds the opposite.
Yeah, I always find he's got quite a good memory for some things, and then other things, yeah, absolutely not. But and Williams, yeah, so you're a team Williams man. Do you have a team at all?
Not really. I'm enjoying McLaren as a team a bit more.
See, I find I'm a McLaren
But probably,
and a Williams man.
I'm probably more a Red Bull team person
okay.
if I had a team to select.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Red Bull.
Yep. Yeah, so I really love both McLaren and Williams. I know that's a big no-no traditionally, isn't it? Like they're the rivals.
Yeah.
Especially, I just didn't like them around the Ron Dennis, with Ron Dennis years and things like that. So
Yep. And so that's all... Not before my time, but before I really knew anything about what was going on. I used to watch Formula 1 then, but couldn't really, pin down all those bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It's a bit before my time. But awesome. Favourite race, track?
Oh, look, it's not one for a spectacle, but Monaco. If I had to say, the bucket list to go to a race at Monaco. I know it's not a great spectacle in that not much overtaking happens, but you generally get some crashes and things like that. But when you actually visit the place, you sit there and go, "Oh my God, this is amazing!"
How do they send those cars
around there? And so last year we were there, I think 2 weeks before the race, and just with it all set up, you sort of sit there in amazement and go, "Oh my God, they're going 300 k's an hour through here." And,
absolutely. What's your favourite race you've attended?
Look, I guess going to Singapore in 2013, I love that.
Yep.
And Vettel put on a masterclass that day. It was absolutely amazing. We sat on the last, the entry into the main straight, and just watching the speed he went through there compared to everyone else was just phenomenal.
In that sparkly purplish Red Bull, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's the race where Alonso gave Webber a lift back to the pits. So,
what's your favourite race you've been to?
I've only ever been to Australia.
Yeah, but which one?
Which Australian Grand Prix have I enjoyed the most? Oh, good question.
The one with all the stops of the red flags at the end. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. It was exceptionally good. But I think probably two of my early ones, I couldn't tell you the years to be quite honest, because next year is my 20th year in a row. So it would be... I don't know, there was a year under the grandstand with a group of friends on the Saturday when qualifying was postponed. And then we did that Sunday morning. Yep. Year escapes me again. But one of the early years, I think it was 07, which was my second year there, when we had the Toyotas and stuff like that. I've probably got some old photos kicking around at home too. 06 was my first year, so probably 07 was the one that I remember a bit more.
Yep.
But I don't really have a favourite one. Just lots of moments.
97 was my first Australian Grand Prix, and that was pretty amazing to see it for the first time and listen to the cars, and that sound stays there. Oh yeah.
Just being in the city and those sounds are out in the city and just hear it echoing around the city. Oh yeah, something else. Do we need an opening question? I feel like we've opened it. Shane probably opened it.
You're steering the ship today.
I'll steal one out of Fan Frenzy.
Okay.
It's pages from Fan Frenzy. And our opening question is, what's your go-to karaoke song? Now, she also gave it a little get out jar card where if you're not necessarily a karaoke person, I can't imagine you would be.
No.
What song do you love to rock it out to in the car by yourself?
I like to listen to it by myself.
No, and sing it out.
And sing. Oh, God, I'll sing anything in the car. I'm listening to Gorillaz at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, Feel Good Inc. Old school. I like to go back and revisit. I have periods of time throughout the year where I constantly revisit genres or eras and stuff like that. But I'm listening to Gorillaz again at the moment.
Got a karaoke song for me?
I've got the world's worst voice to singing. It's terrible, but I guess when I get out there and sing a karaoke, it's often on the Proclaimers 500 Miles. So just a bit of a joke song.
And it's easy to get everyone involved in that too. Exactly. You can't help but sing along to that. I was famous for going to Ireland with a couple of people I knew, Cal and Treen, when we were travelling. And we're in a little town in, I don't know where it was, Country Island. And we were at a pub and there was some karaoke going on, and for some reason I had enough Guinness to think it was a good idea to sing Sexual Healing.
Yeah,
not the greatest move.
No. I could see you doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd want to see you doing it.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't a good way to pick up. So. But anyway, it was an experience. We'll never forget it. G'day, Cal and Train. I'm sure they're listening. Let's get stuck into Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix. It is the most overrated racetrack in the world, isn't it? Isn't it?
No,
Tristan?
no,
Isn't
it's
it,
not.
Tristan?
No, it's my second favourite track.
I know.
It's brilliant. No, it's not. And I reckon 3 weeks ago, no, even on the last episode, we were pumped and we're excited for it. It's not when you say Suzuka, your mind instantly doesn't go, ugh.
You do get a little, every time you go though, you get this little reminder of, it doesn't often produce anymore. It used to. You go through the classics on KO and that sort of stuff. There's heaps of Suzukas.
There's heaps.
But it hasn't produced a decent race in the modern era of Formula One.
See, I disagree with you. I think this weekend was just a putrid outlier.
Give me a little indication of one that was decent recently.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to think of one.
It's hard to think of one, but it's
I think
like
all
I said,
here,
we don't go the week before being like Suzuka's on. Oh, gross.
I think we all get excited
Never
about it
crosses
because
your
we know
mind.
the drivers love it.
Yeah,
and
drivers
we've probably all driven it on a simulator, and
it's
it's awesome.
a brilliantly technical
It
circuit.
looks cool.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, it's just it hasn't produced a decent race in such a long time. Monaco had more overtakes, more changes of position last year than Suzuka did this year. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's why
and
I
I'm
feel
with you
like
though.
yeah.
It is an outlier, and the tyres ruined everything.
Of course they did.
Because the tyres just hung on forever.
For the hard to last as long as it did and be quicker than the medium.
Yeah, and so it was
an
so
anomaly in itself.
Usually you get high deg,
Yep.
and you get a couple of pit stops.
It's been resurfaced.
That's generally where you get it. You do get your undercut generally.
Yep.
And we didn't see any of that happening.
No, we
I've
didn't.
forgotten to introduce our beverage of the episode.
Well, see, I think
You've got two.
there's too much. We got to make up the episode this week because nothing happened in the race.
Oh, well, that's true.
So that's where we've.
So beverages, I've brought in a couple of beverages for us,
Yep.
and I said we'll have something other than beer, but I have got a beer. Asahi is one of my favourites. It is a ripper, isn't it? It's a good beer.
It is good.
You haven't been overly complimentary of the beers so far. This one,
because
you're
I
happy?
hate beer.
Yeah, you're not a beer person. This one, you feel better?
I can't imagine that we'll get halfway through the year and I'll be like, oh, I love beer so much. No, it's not going to happen. I hate beer. This is all right though.
Yeah, it's pretty good,
This is
isn't
the
it?
best beer I've had today. It's the only one.
Yeah,
Best
best one
one.
we've had so far from all of them.
Yeah, it was better than that. What was that kangaroo one you had in Australia?
No, you had a VB. That would have beaten it.
Nah, there was like a third one. That one
Was it
that I
goat?
nearly... What
goat.
was the last one we had that
Goat.
I nearly died?
Yeah, mountain goat.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah.
I nearly died
Was that
mid-episode.
the pale ale?
I don't know what it was.
The
It was-
green can?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. You didn't like that one either, did you?
No, it
Didn't
was
like that one.
pure
Yeah.
petrol.
Yep. But we have sake boys
Ah, good.
because we're in Japan.
Am I allowed to drive
cheers.
home now?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
am I
this
gonna
is
need
this
to-
is
are we
the
all-
same
are we all
as
staying here?
wine. So
Ah.
I did look it up for you. Cheers.
Okay, that's...
Cheers.
That's
And
really
it can be
thoughtful of you.
served cold or warm.
Okay.
I can't say the
what's
last
the
time.
soup that you can do that with? Tomato soup? Gazpacho? Where it's like
Can't
cold.
say I've had.
It's cold.
It feels like I really need to be eating Japanese food to drink this.
Do you?
Yeah, it's the same as a wine, so maybe don't drink it all, Tristan.
Okay, like how do
Knowing
I
yours.
drink this? Just
Yeah, no,
like-
you sip it.
Oh, okay.
You sip it. It's not a sculler.
It's not a shot. You put it in a tiny glass. It half crossed my mind. Do
No, well, I just didn't
inhale
want to feed you.
this.
Didn't want it. They do generally a clay cup. Have you been to Japan?
No, I'd love to go.
Me too. Do you like it?
It's interesting.
Yeah. I feel like you need Japanese food in a Japanese restaurant. Not sure the headquarters are really helping with the aromas.
God, that's
Describe what's going on in your
awful.
palate, Tristan.
It's awful.
Describe
It's
what's going on.
awful. Oh, I don't like this as our new thing. It's terrible. It's awful.
I don't expect you
This
to
might
drink it all.
get cut like a Red Bull driver.
Jesus.
Explain what's going on in your
Well,
palate. What are you
there's-
tasting?
I don't know. A lot of nothingness, but then like just a burning sensation.
No, I'm
It's
not
the
kidding.
best way I can describe it. You know when you have hot water after toothpaste? That's the best way I can describe this. There's no flavour to it, but then it's like, You've done it. We've all done that. You've hot too hot. Oh god.
No, I can't say I have.
Really? No, you haven't accidentally brushed your teeth and then you've turned hot water on. You've done
No.
Do that tonight, and that's what I'm currently experiencing right now. Oh, I can't wait for the cider country.
wonder where that is.
I don't know.
I could maybe do an English signer when we go to the UK. It's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year. I can't wait for Mexico when we're nailing tequilas.
I'm worried about like when you get to the American races. Are you going to find 4 decent beers to have
I'll
from
just be like,
America?
I'll keep it.
Bud Light, Bud Extra Light.
Yeah, calls. Yeah. Actually, I don't mind a Bud.
What do you think of the sake? Yeah.
I feel like I'd enjoy it more with a little bit of Japanese cuisine. I'm not sure the headquarters quite does what it needs to for this particular drink.
Oh, it's very chic in here.
Yes, but anyway, it's okay.
Okay.
Don't feel like you have to drink it.
No, I feel committed to it. I will.
Okay.
I will, because the effort's there.
Good on you.
No, and it's part of what we do now.
Well, actually, maybe you do need to keep on drinking it because there's something else that we need to bring up with you before we get into the race. I've just remembered as well.
Oh, good.
After last week's the last episode out,
what did I say?
You made some claims about Williams.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And there's strong calls for some apologies.
It's not going to happen.
You made accusations, Tristan,
Fire it at me.
that they were running different chassis per driver and that they should have their act together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, oh, I haven't seen that this is the case, and so I made a call to James Vowles.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and he put out a video just for you.
Did he really?
To clear things up.
Oh, to clear up the 14th place of his number one signed driver.
We posted it on our socials.
Did we?
And it was just in time for you giving me access back to the socials.
Good. Is that what I got back for?
Perfect.
Just for casual bullying.
So are you going to apologise?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely not. Because his number one signed driver that he was pretty much, I don't know, I don't know if he's married anymore by the claims pre-season, but finished 14th. And that's hopeless. So
that wasn't what you were accusing him of at that point.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so that tells me that there's 2 different chassis there, isn't it? There's one that finished in 14th. And the other one's finishing 9th. So
is that the driver?
Probably.
Or
at the
is
end of the day,
it's the same as Lewis?
It's not flash, is it?
It's the same as Lewis.
For all the chatter that went on pre-season.
But you're making accusations that they got different chassis per driver.
I said it was something that I had seen and unread.
But it was wrong.
So
apology is what's now required.
So was 95% of the world who told us that they were the 3rd and 4th best team on the grid pre-season. And then here we are, 9th and
I don't think I read that anywhere.
I reckon we
best of the rest, and they asked best of the rest with RB.
With a group in between them?
With RB.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, nice try.
You're
next week.
Stubborn
next
man.
Week, I'll apologise when they're both on the podium. That's when I'll apologise to William.
Perfect. There you go. We've got
That's apologise. You give me a second and third, and I'll happily say sorry.
No. You said
not going to happen. No. Both on the podium.
No, both in the points will be fine.
Both on the podium is what I said.
Look, if they both end on the podium, I think I'll run nude down the main street.
Good. Well, look forward to that. We've 2 exciting things happening that week.
Oh man!
As long as it's summer.
Oh dear.
Let's get into it. It was a masterclass from Max. He stunned everybody after what looked like a fairly ordinary Friday. They turned the car upside down. They believe they've made claims that they pretty much changed everything they could or made adjustments to everything they could. Studied everything and he was looking like he'd made improvements, but I don't think in qualifying any of us were expecting him to pull out the lap that he did. Is this Red Bull, though, better than what we're giving it credit for?
No, I don't think so.
You think it's all just a Max class?
Yeah, I think he was the difference across the weekend.
I don't disagree with that. However, we've been saying this Red Bull's maybe 4th fastest. It's better than that, isn't it?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. No,
not at the moment.
I'd need to see a lot more of a sample size to say it's faster than 4th, but it's definitely still 4th.
Probably what I'm getting at is I wonder whether we're underselling it. I'm not convinced. I'm with you. We need a bigger sample size.
Yep.
But I reckon this Red Bull, McLaren were onto it early. And I know that teams have to go and say, look, these teams, you've got to watch out for these teams. But they were onto it early, and they seem to think that they'd seen something in that Red Bull that was going to suggest that it had real potential at this racetrack in particular.
What about the suggestion of the new flexi wing rules, which when you came in after China, and that there was a handful of teams that this was going to affect. I hate rule changes mid, quarter, third, any part of the season changing the rules. But I wonder if did we see a glimpse of that, like we saw a glimpse of that mini DRS for the McLaren 2 towards the back third, quarter of the year. I wonder if that played a little bit of a part in making it look a little bit better than what it really, really is. So it probably is 4th, but it's just a question mark for me.
I'm a wait and see.
But again, we need to see more.
Across the weekend, like once they got it together, they got that set up. I'm not talking about the other car.
No.
I'm talking about the one that's set up for Max.
Yeah.
I wonder whether Max's car is more competitive than what we've been giving it credit for.
Is it like an approach that he needs to take, though? We saw Lewis do this last year in the first half of the season with the Mercedes. He was comprehensively beaten by George, but he was doing setup work on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then doing quite well on Sunday.
Still behind George.
Yeah, but I wonder if what we're seeing with this is Max too, is we know that RB is fourth, so he needs to have a different approach where it's not come out all guns blazing and just finding that sweet spot straight away, that it's going to be a slow build until we get to Sunday. Because the qualifying was brilliant, and no one would have picked Max for that.
No,
at all.
Not,
It was phenomenal. It didn't even have a purple sector across the lap either, at any stage, and still hooked it together. So I feel like that's the approach we might get this week too, where he'll be nowhere practice 1, 2, 3, and then quali it'll just come together and we're ready for Sunday.
There's no doubt about him. He can pull when it's time to pull the trigger. He's so good at
absolutely.
making it all
Even Fernando's comments when he was watching it that he's the only man on the grid that can do this at the moment. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's a few layers to that, I feel.
I'm not trying to underplay how good Max was. I just wonder whether we're not giving this Red Bull and Max enough credit this year. I wonder whether they're right in the hunt. I mean, he's second in the championship, for goodness sake.
By a point.
Yeah.
I think I had him as predicted.
And it's not like Norris has dropped massive points.
No.
And so he's not that far off, is he? Shane, thoughts on it?
He was just brilliant, that qualifying lap, and then he got off the line, and that was it. Like the McLaren, especially in Norris's hands, could not travel close behind him. And
we see that with that McLaren all the time. The McLaren out front probably would have made a difference, but it never got there, did it?
I think if either of the McLarens got in front, they just would have driven away.
But that was a Mercedes of a couple of years ago too, that it was no good in dirty air, and it needed to be at the front because they were so used to being 1-2.
Yep. He seemed to manage it quite well. Typically, we go by both drivers, so let's talk about Yuki's weekend. I mean, anything else you want to mention about Max? Because I don't want to underplay the man.
No,
But it was,
It would if I was going to rank his races in the past, sort of say, in the championship era, the Brazil last year was probably the best drive, but this would be an easy, third.
I think we'll see. I reckon we'll see how impressive this drive was as the year goes on.
Yep.
Particularly before this round 8. I expect the Red Bulls to find a little bit ground by round 8. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they also did bring some changes to this car.
Yes, rear engine covered. The only team with a major upgrade to settle the rear down.
So I just wonder whether they're not as far off. Yuki Tsunoda's weekend, it would look like it was going off with a fly. He was slightly behind Max most of the practice sessions. He seemed to be doing what he needed to do, getting the runs in with a disrupted practice sessions with Jack's big crash, and then there was
just
everything
on fire all the time
on the side. So it wasn't the perfect setup for Yuki, but he seemed to be holding it together nicely. Q1 looked really good, and then Q2 he couldn't get it together. In this business, in this car in particular, it meant everything. Thoughts on Yuki's weekend, Shane?
Yeah, look, you take out Q2 and it was reasonable. So I think, he was closer to Max than what Lawson's been.
Yep.
And I think that if he just had have got it together that little bit more, he would have been easily in Q3. And, that's something I guess Lawson had struggled to do in all his qualifying. But they probably made the right call. But, that being out of the whack in that qualifying just meant that he wasn't going to go too far up in the race.
Yeah, given that everyone pretty much finished in their starting positions, particularly at the top end of the grid, if he could have started, say, 7th, it would have been predicted that he could finish 7th, really, wasn't it?
Of course.
And so, he didn't do anything wrong. It was a solid start. The big knock on him for me is he's got to learn how to hold his tongue. And he came out talking about the fact that he was going to do all these things and it was well overdue, and he talked it up a little bit too much for my liking. I was like, just keep your mouth closed, man. Just get on with it and let your racing do your talking. He got trapped in that a little bit, and so all of a sudden the 12th didn't look that great, whereas if he had to keep his mouth closed, everyone would have been, 12th is pretty good. Thoughts on anything else around Yuki for the weekend?
I thought he had a fantastic weekend.
Yeah?
In every way, shape and form.
Apart from Q2?
Look, with the outlier of Q2, but the constant interruptions there, if you look at where he's come from, having no pre-season in the Red Bull. Wouldn't have had any simulator time other than maybe a handful of hours before the call was made. And then practice 1 to be a 10th off Max straight away. I thought he was fantastic. And for me...
Let's not forget Max is still setting his car up like
for
we're
sure,
talking about.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it shows that it's the call that should have been made 2 weeks ago. Really. And I think I have high hopes for him for the rest of the year. I thought his approach was really good, to be quite honest. I didn't think... I was critical of Lawson a couple of weeks ago, saying that he came out really arrogant and really boisterous.
But you didn't say this with Yuki?
No, because...
Yuki was talking himself up.
But I didn't mind it from Yuki in the sense that because...
Such double standards.
Because he's had the runs on the board and he's had the time in the RB and he's been plugging away at getting that seat for quite a long time.
He's done the apprenticeship.
He's done it. He's done the time. Whereas Lawson hasn't done the time and then came out and said, look at me, I'm doing all these great things, and ended up dead last.
But he didn't. That's the part that gets my...
No, but
the
difference is...
He just looks arrogant, Lawson.
He was so much closer to Max, and it is what should have happened 2 weeks ago.
I couldn't agree with you more.
So I thought it was a really, really, really great way to start. Really great way.
I'll give it a decent, but close your bloody mouth.
Really?
Honestly, he just lays pressure on himself for no reason.
See, I didn't think that. I thought the way even on the Friday he said, "Just I'm ready for it." Like, so you can be critical of me.
I don't mind that one bit.
I thought that the first initial comments around arriving at the track saying, "I'm ready for it." So pile the pressure on me, and you know what? I'm ready to absorb it and take it in. Whereas Lawson, for me, the other way was like, look at me, I'm going to do all this. Like, I'm going to get points and all that.
I've worked it all out.
But
Because I went looking. I went looking for any of these arrogant comments.
Sure.
I've had other people say this to me.
Yes.
He hadn't said anything. It's just his face.
It's just his face.
Honestly, it is. Lawson's face is just an arrogant look at me face.
Really?
Yeah, but because I went looking, because I was like, I must have missed something.
And
you can't name one thing he said.
No, but because
and
it's
the other
just
people
the
that
general,
I spoke to,
it's just the general demeanour across everything.
Yeah. But honestly,
no pinpoint
it's just
moment.
his look. It's just his look.
But like you said, Shane, like Yuki's done the apprenticeship, he's done the time and he's ready for it. So that's why
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm okay with that.
I honestly just to keep that pressure off, you don't need to say anything. It was a tricky situation because it's his home race. Everyone wanted him.
You know, I think that kind of added to it.
Finally, he could speak the language of the locals, and so that wasn't a problem for him because quite often he gets himself in trouble because of his English hadn't been that great.
Yep.
And so he'd be searching for words. But and so he was in that tricky predicament where he was going to be speaking a lot, and of course things were going to be misconstrued. But my advice to him would be just keep your head down and just let the racing do its thing. Because I think he will be good.
I think so too. And knowing that you've got the rest of the season now too, what did you think of Horner's comments around the whole "we're doing it for Lawson's best interest" and we're doing it protecting and all that kind of stuff?
It's typical Horner.
Because it was a real quick backpedal, and I thought you had all the information there to make the decision.
It's just like Helmet saying that, of course we've seen him. He's a different driver this year. Bullshit. You saw 2 races.
And the talk that it was all around Adrian Newey and Yuki hitting Gasly. I don't know about that. Don't pin it on someone who's no longer there.
To come out and
I would
say
love
that
a response from Newey too. I think that'd be great. But no, look, all credit to Yuki. 12th, it's higher than what Checo would have been, to be quite honest. He was right there in practice 1. And I think if we were... It
was actually where Checo generally was.
If we didn't have this sort of real anomaly of a weekend, I think there was a lot more there to give. So I'm really looking forward to see what he did.
Okay. Yeah, but Checo was there in a lot better car.
That's true. It's very
Checo
true.
was only in 12.
He was in the number 1 car, whereas Yuki's in the number 4 car.
He was only the 12th last year and a little bit the year before. Before that, he was fairly competitive.
In the number, but the Red Bull was
That's
ranked.
how he kept his seat, remember?
True, but
he
we were
was
ranking the Red
while.
Bull as first in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, we're ranking it as 4th now.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not convinced it's 4th anymore. But yeah, we'll see. Well, it's a wait and see. I don't think we're convinced of anything anymore. Let's get into the McLarens. Norris. I mean, we can probably lump the McLarens in a double.
Sure.
Put them both in at the moment because Norris and Piastri both, for lack of a better term, shat the bed when it came to qualifying.
Yeah.
I mean, Max's lap was brilliant, but it was only allowed to be that good because neither of them could nail their lap.
Well, Oscar's Sector 1 lost it because he was purple Sector 2 and 3, so it was really his pole.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I mean, Norris couldn't quite get it together, but he wasn't that far off either.
Yep.
And so the McLarens put themselves in that predicament. They were fairly confident they could work their way out of it. I don't think they were expecting this race to occur this way.
Yeah.
I think they thought they had the race pace that was going to get them out of it. And then it turned out that they just didn't have any answers. Now, there's lots of conjecture about what should they have done throughout the race. A couple of options for them was, should have pitted Norris first and given him the opportunity to get the undercut done on Verstappen. Another option would have been leave Norris out for longer and let him try and work those tyres and with some clear air, which is what we've been talking about with the McLarens. They like that clear air to get that advantage that way. Or swap the drivers over and let Piastri have a crack at him. Which of those ones would you have liked to have seen, Tristan?
Oh, I would have liked to have seen an opportunity for Oscar to have a go as he started to close that gap, just because he had the run on. I mean, you could see Lando was backing off in the dirty air because the turbulence was there all race.
I don't buy that completely.
I kind of do. I do.
Considering those tyres weren't actually having problems.
Yeah. And I think because of what we saw up and down the field, that you had to be so close to get a pass.
How much time did he spend within the DRS? Norris? Bugger all.
No, none. But Oscar spent a lot.
It's not even like he tried.
But then that's sort of where I say counterintuitive to that is that Oscar spent a lot of time in the DRS, but still couldn't make that gain.
But could hold it in there for a long time.
Could hold it. You could see it could be held. The length of DRS was.
So that's why I'm not convinced that Norris ever had the speed, because he just didn't sit in that DRS at all. Didn't have a crack at all. And it's like they were expecting the race to come to him. But, yeah, I'm not sure he ever really had that same pace. I think Andrea Stella has maybe covered for him a little bit with that.
Maybe. I would have liked to have seen him have a go. You've got 5 laps to get it done. And if you don't get it done, you give the position back. And I could see Oscar doing that too. He'd be like, okay,
absolutely.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, they missed a trick. And the whole idea around that was this is a chess game for Norris. He's playing the long game.
Yep.
And then it just never turned out that there was ever any game.
Is the lack of action the learning from last year, where we went a little bit too hard, too early, and made a lot of mistakes? We wanted them to learn from that as a team. So here you are at a track where passing has been almost obsolete for 54 laps. You've got second and third. You've got a handful of laps to go. Just bring it home.
We're just going to bank it.
Just bank it.
I think there was an element of that.
Which I'm okay with, because that's what we asked of them at the end of last year. And the amount of error. Imagine if they had have absolutely botched it. Or they had have come together. Or if one of them had to turn around and Oscar had to said, you know what, stuff you, I'm not giving it back because it's round 3.
Yep.
And then suddenly we'd be like, oh my God, Inter-Team McLaren is
or
not happening.
Norris said, no, I'm not going to give him.
That's exactly right. And that would be like fireball going off here. So,
I'm with you. I'm not completely lost on it's a good result for McLaren. I would just for my interest's sake, I would have loved to see that move from Piastri. Shane, what are those 3 options? What would you have looked for?
Oh, the 2 and 3. So look, they definitely should have left Norris out longer. Like, they have the data in front of them. George Russell pitted. He was making no time on Oscar in those because the tyres just didn't come on. But no, they just pitted him straight away. They should have left him out longer, Norris out longer, and then they definitely should have swapped him around. But they're not going to do it because Lando is the golden boy.
Yep.
Like, he is the golden boy. There is no way you could tell me that if Oscar was in second, that call would have come.
Oh, I'm with you on that one. That's my next point is swap the positions around and they would have made that call.
Absolutely, because Zach has come out and basically for years saying he wants to win a world title with Lando.
Yep. Absolutely. And it won't be that they won't allow Oscar to win it. He's just going to have to win it with a few extra challenges in there, I think. I don't think it's necessarily that we're going to make sure everything happens for him, but yeah, I'm with you on that. For me, we saw the first lap out, so the undercut wasn't working because the first lap out required a little bit of working those tyres in. After that, they did show some decent speed. But the undercut doesn't work that way. It has to happen all very quickly. And so I don't think that the undercut or the overcut was going to work either way because of that extra. You got to work those tyres in. But yeah, I mean, we saw a couple of examples of cars in some clear air making a little bit of ground, but I couldn't see it happening either. I think it was, and I'm with you, there was that element of second and third is really important to us. We're not making crazy changes for that.
Yeah, the hindsight, though, is because Red Bull stuffed up Max's pit stop, the overcut would have worked.
Yep.
he would have.
Yes.
Instead, he made himself look like a bit of a dick when he got there, and he drove me off the track.
Yeah, and if we're in hindsight corner, he should have sat right in behind Verstappen and raced him for that first lap and seeing if that McLaren could do better things on that tyre straight out of the pits. But if you're a racing driver, you're definitely going to hold in there as long as you can. And if you know who Max Verstappen is, you know you're going to end up mowing the grass, like they said. But yeah, it was a decent race. I wouldn't put it down as a fail. I would have loved to see an Oscar. I think Oscar did have better pace. Oscar, I think, could have put some pressure on Max. But we'll never know. We'll never know.
Oscar's big problem was he could not get the traction out of the
chicane.
Yes.
Yeah.
He would get up there within
corner.
4/10.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he exited, he was at 6/10 again.
Yeah. I wonder whether it was Norris a little bit too, where he was just reading that track nicely, knowing that's the spot to protect. I don't know. But one thing, probably couldn't say to this track, I think we've seen some improvement in his time management for Piastri.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think across the board it's improved. And so that's a big win. That is a big win for us. Next team, we go to Ferrari. Actually, I forgot about Leclerc.
Oh.
Leclerc is just just the best of the rest. Quite often, he or Russell generally best of the rest, isn't it?
Yeah.
So had to raise the riser height on the Ferrari, and so it just didn't quite work for them. But mind you, only finished 16 seconds behind them. Thoughts?
I'm a little bit concerned about Ferrari. I know it's round 3. I had them really up there as this is it.
Yes,
this is the year that we're making gains. If I was going to sit down and write an end-of-year report card right now for Ferrari, it's a fail.
Ooh.
It's just not happening.
You're going early on
I'm going early. I've been thinking about this all weekend. It is just not happening. It is just not happening. There is something fundamentally wrong with that setup. If they're having to compromise the ride height, which is what Mercedes had to do in 22...
Yep.
That if already round 3 we're doing that, it's a long year ahead, and they would need to get this development done within, the next 3 rounds. Like, it has to be corrected, because you can't go with a compromised ride height for the next 10 weeks. Then it's season gone.
I think it's very track dependent, that ride height issue.
Can't be. It can't, if they're going to be successful this year...
Well, that's Ferrari in general, isn't it? It's always track
If it's
dependent.
going to be successful, they cannot wait until it gets to that sort of European league, let's say, for conversation's sake, where it's all going to come together. It's you correct it now, or the year's gone. So I'm really downhearted on Ferrari at the moment. It's not working. Something wrong with the car. It's already 3 rounds in. For me, it's a fail. And the Lewis experiment, I know that you give a new driver a little bit of time, but you can't really say that Lewis needs a lot of time, being as brilliant as he is. What did he finish? 8th? 9th? That's not what Lewis was there for. You might as well have kept Sainz.
There is some extra around Lewis.
Yep.
In terms of where he believes he is.
Just,
they're on 35 points.
And
that's not enough. However, we've got to take into account that race that they were disqualified.
Yeah.
Where they've lost all points. Leclerc's 42 points behind the leaders.
Yep. You can't be losing points. You can't. Not in this game anymore.
Yeah.
Australia was a horror show. You've had a double DNF and then you finish, 5th and 8th? That is, that's... If we were talking RB, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. This is a positive year. But we're not. We're talking Ferrari. And it was all there to play for at the end of pre-season testing. And it looked good. And the signing was there. And all the pieces of the puzzle were there ready to go. And it's just... I'm disappointed.
I think they ran everything really... Just upped everything in testing just because of the Lewis factor. They wanted to cash in on that. And their car's probably not quite where they were. But on that, Charles drove well. He was almost like Russell's been in the last couple of races.
Yeah.
Where you didn't see him,
but
didn't mention
still,
him, but
he's still
there.
16 seconds off. And for Charles and that Ferrari and everything that looked good at the start of the season, it's not.
It's 16 seconds off max.
Yeah. But it's still not enough.
It's not 16 seconds off
No.
what McLaren could have done.
No.
I think we're all in agreement. If McLaren was out in the lead, they might have ended up 20 seconds up the road. And so then it could have been...
Then it could be half a minute plus.
Towards half a minute, yeah.
And that's not okay. And I marked them harsher this year. I'm really going to because of all... Do
you think there's an element of... double DNF last one?
No.
We're not... We can't hit our sweet spots because we've now got to recalculate a few things.
Yep.
We're going to run things a little bit more with a few more margins. And so they've just been a little conservative just to get back on track. I think there's still improvement to come from them, but yeah, I'm with you. They've underperformed.
I think the improvement's there because of the compromised setup. So it has to improve because it's going wrong so far. Which I know, you're right, round 3, I know I'm going early on that, but it's not happening.
Hamilton, he's alluded to in all sorts of weird codes and bits and pieces that his car isn't quite the same as Leclerc's car, and it's around his driving style. His driving style does not suit this car at all. It reminds me a little of Ricciardo. Can he drive a new style, or can he adapt to a new style? It's early. It is very early.
Of course he can.
Let's wait and see.
Of course he can.
He hasn't yet.
I know.
I'm going to say, of course, he used to be able to.
Well, and that's the Ricciardo thing, isn't it? Like, Ricciardo's... his Renault days were pretty good, but as soon as it got to McLaren, he couldn't make it happen. And it was a real... It went against the way that he liked to drive. And I just wonder whether Hamilton's sort of... I don't know. It's very early, but he's been talking about that they can't get the car in the sweet spot for him. He's not knowing how to use the tools that are available to him. So yeah, it hasn't been. I mean, look at Behrman. Remember when Behrman stood in that car?
7th.
Yeah,
which
is where Hamilton is.
But you've got a rookie who has jumped out of F2, as opposed to a 7-time world champion. Like, it shouldn't take... No,
that's what I'm saying. This is a blow on Hamilton.
I know, I totally agree with you. It shouldn't take the ladder to take that long to get up to speed.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't.
It's an interesting watch. I'm not convinced that he won't get there. Shaney, I think you're thinking that will he get there?
No, he won't get there. I don't think his last 3 years against Russell have proven...
He's at the top of his game anyway.
Anyway, yeah. Like, he's comprehensively... Well, I shouldn't say comprehensively, but he was beaten 2 out of those 3 years... by Russell, and then especially if you look at qualifying, he was absolutely dominated by Russell. So, yeah.
I can't see him being too upset about this either, to be quite honest.
Really?
No, because it's just... I feel like this is a little bit...
I think this is going to break him.
No, I think this is still a little bit of that element of boyhood dream coming to realisation.
Yeah, I don't think there's
towards the end of the career.
I don't think there's realisation.
I've got to this team that I've always wanted to be a part of, so that could be the win at the end of the season. I've had the 12 months.
I was going to say, I think you're thinking Hamilton at the end of the season. At the moment, I think he's not very happy with the way things are going. Some of these comments in presses are very interesting. He's speaking in lots of riddles at the moment. Russell and Antonelli. Now, Russell was 5th, but I want to talk about Antonelli. He is a man that's just quietly going about his business.
Yeah.
He is, I tell you, he seems to be head down, gets the work done.
Yep.
Made some big improvements across the weekend because this is a new racetrack for him in these cars. And he was getting pretty poor results in Friday practice. Did lots of work with Bottas around where he needs to make the improvements. And he made the improvements pretty good. He was just off Russell in qualifying and just off him in the race. He's coming along nicely, isn't he?
I think he's had a very good start to the year.
Yeah.
I'm big on the subscription of that you have to achieve something before you get there. But
he didn't.
He hasn't, and I'm okay with being wrong with that one. Like, I think he's done a fantastic job.
Well, that's as close
I think
to
he's done a
hearing
fantastic
you say
job.
I was wrong.
I know. I did say. I think he's done a wonderful job. I really do. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. But
he's impressed me a lot.
I think Mercedes will be sitting back going, "Yes, we've made the right call."
If there's one person that I thought might have been going down the arrogant, I'm too big for my own boots path, I thought it was going to be him.
Really?
I knew very little about him.
I don't know. I thought it's just
everything you see. Like, I just love how young he seems. Like, I talk about it all the time. He's giggling in press conferences because people will pay him a compliment, and they can tell that people that he adores pays him a compliment. He starts giggling, which is wonderful to see. But he just seems to get on with it. He seems to be head down. I love everything about him at the moment.
Is that the real kicker with these new young guys coming through? It's just that we just don't know better. So we get in the car and this is the car we have, and so we immediately know it. Whereas the more experience that you seem to have at the moment, it can work.
Hold you back a little bit.
It can hold you back because you've known things in the past that work for you, and you've had that high level of success. or as
Possibly.
a young kid coming
There's
in.
probably a
can
few
just jump
examples
in
to
and
support
go,
that.
Yeah, and, like he'll be sitting there going, "Well, this Mercedes is easy to drive, but it's the only thing he's ever driven."
Yeah, Ocon might be another example of that.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Anything on Antonelli or Russell? We've skipped past Russell, but he's just going about his business at the moment.
Just
Russell.
watch him. I said last week, just watch him. He's up for this fight in the title. Don't be surprised if we get halfway in. He's a couple of points off.
Yeah, Russell has been consistent. He hasn't been making as many mistakes. But Antonelli, like that stint on the medium tyres was, fantastic. And that put him in the place to, pull back time on Russell towards the end there. So he only ended up, a second or two behind him?
Yeah, no, it's for a third race in. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Tell you who else I'm liking. Hadjar. Now, you've tried to pin your stripes on Hadjar.
I already have. I've been pinning him for 3 weeks.
I like it.
I called him round one. I said, this man is my man.
And he's another one that you gave a hard time to.
I don't know. I gave him
Originally,
a hard time.
absolutely,
No, I'm not sure
you did.
I mean,
He's not ready.
he crashed.
What's he achieved?
After he crashed before he started, fair enough.
But he's look, what a man. I'm
mate,
impressed with him.
You don't have to tell me. I've hitched myself to him, and I am all over the Hadjar bandwagon. I'm driving the bus. I'm selling the tickets. I've got all the merchandise.
I'm on board.
Good.
I'm on board.
Welcome.
I like it.
Welcome.
So just head down, get the job done sort of effort. He's qualifying quite well, and then he just seems at home in the car.
Yep.
I was expecting more of the crashing at the start of races from him.
Well, don't forget he really should have won the F2 title. If not for didn't get off the line in the final race.
Yep.
Hence why Bortoletto won.
Yep. But I was expecting, when I saw him at Australia crash before the race, I was expecting more of those silly moments from him, because you hear that he is fast, but he isn't consistent. Whereas, outside of that, all we've seen is consistency from him since then. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's been very solid. Lawson in the other RB. How would you rate his weekend?
Still, I know he out-qualified Yuki to begin with.
Yep.
But then didn't outrace him, so, yeah. It was okay. It was okay.
Yep.
It was sort of for me where he is. Like, it wasn't an achievement beyond what he should have done. Like, he certainly didn't drag the car higher than where it should be.
Well, he certainly didn't. He finished in 17th.
He didn't, but he didn't fail miserably, to be quite honest, because...
He finished in 17th.
No, but that's what I'm saying. When you put him in the lesser machinery and still be where you are in the RB, it just shows that that's where you are.
But his teammate finished in 8th.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's where Lawson is. He's at the bottom. He's at the bottom.
Behind his
Yeah,
teammate.
That's what I'm saying. That's my argument. Is that it's not a better result? No, he's not. He's just not. I've been saying it for months. He's just not. That's 17th is where he is. That is a Lawson weekend.
Ooh.
It is. You get in a faster car and you finish lower. That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree
driving
with you.
to shop in a Ferrari and walking.
Yep.
And then the person walking gets there before the Ferrari does. It makes no sense to me.
It just baffles me that this Red Bull team...
He's not ready. And he should never have been there in the first place.
I disagree with the not ready part.
He's not ready.
He's had all the readiness he needs. He's just not good enough.
He's had all the time in the world and he's still not ready.
It's not like he achieved that much before getting to the team.
I know. That's what I said. If he was good enough, he would have got it in the first place.
It's like that meme that went around. And it's the son crying on Dad's shoulder and just sort of says, "You mean we lost Danny Rick for nothing?"
Yeah, we did. We did.
Absolutely.
It's just 7/8. So no, it's no good.
Will we see Danny Rick reappear?
No. Would you walk back?
Well, they've got no, exactly.
Would you?
That's the thing.
You wouldn't.
They've got no other options.
No.
But
we got Hadjar there now.
But they haven't got any other options for Lawson.
But that's what I'm saying. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no one. Yeah. So you just finished 17th.
Yeah. They've got some coming. They actually have. They have got some really good ones coming. However, they're just not ready. No. And so
And if you lose Max, you've got Hadjar.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Well, he's ready.
He's ready.
Are you going to see?
No, I'm not saying he's ready. I'm just saying.
Jeepers.
He's not ready.
Holy moly.
Could he?
Williams, Albon, 9th. It's a team on the up. It's a team that's done a lot of good work in the lead up to this. They're consistently getting one of the cars in. Sainz is taking a little bit of time to find his feet at this team. I was surprised it's taking him this long. Shane?
He's very aggro at the moment, isn't he? Like there's been, and even Albon on the weekend sort of got a bit nasty.
He did, actually.
A bit shirty with his team, but
For a nice guy, he can get a bit shirty on the radio sometimes, Alvin. Yeah. But yeah,
so Sainz is just not quite there at the moment, and
you can see the frustration in him, can't you?
and Albon's had his measure, and I think Williams might be sitting thinking that's a few extra $1 million we could have put in development. And maybe not signed Sainz. But anyway.
I think that'll be right. I think it'll be right in the long term. I think we expect, like you say, we expect a lot from these drivers to learn these cars really quickly. Maybe it is easier for a rookie with no preconceived ideas about what a Formula 1 car should be doing. Maybe it's easier for them to do that setup. I think we'll see Sainz come along, but yeah, we haven't seen any experienced driver jump in a new car and take off in it. Everyone is at the moment being schooled by the teammates. From Hülkenberg through to Sainz, through to Hamilton, through to, who else has changed? Ocon.
Well, Behrman sort of had his measure, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, they're both in new cars. So.
Yeah, so Behrman's showing Ocon how it's done. So it just seems to be at the moment that the preconceived conceptions of what a Formula 1 car should be is not necessarily the right answer for coming to grips with it quickly. So it'll be.
It always brings you back to that question: do we need more pre-season testing?
Yeah, well, then that's who was it? Who was it that was crying out for that? It was Sainz, wasn't it? Sainz was desperate for it. He was quite angry in some of his comments.
You go back sort of late 1990s, 2000, they were testing all the time.
Yeah, they're weekly. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So anyway, it's a watch. He's certainly not happy. 14th, teammate 9th. The Williams seems okay though. It does seem okay. It's certainly competitive with everybody else. 3 seconds behind the RBs. I think that was sort of let it all happen at the end. I think everyone sort of just relaxed at the end there when everyone realised they weren't overtaking anyone. Now a little gap behind them, 14 seconds behind them, was the Haas of Behrman. Behrman's another one that's sneaky achieving at the moment. It's a nice thing to see for Behrman, isn't it?
Yep. After the horror show that was Australia.
Yep. He seems to have he's found his way with them. Haas.
I think Haas have found their way too. They've just sort of
after that worry of testing into Australia.
It was a real concern that this was just going to be a bottom. It was going to bottom out. But sigh of relief,
we said. Yep, it was an outlier.
I think they will continue to just peg away and get both up there towards the end. I expect in a month's time that they'll be that fifth fastest team, fourth fastest team, fifth fastest.
Question without notice: what happened to Ocon in this race?
I actually
finished
don't
in
know.
18th. It wasn't someone that you generally followed.
No, did he have the hards on at the beginning with Hamilton? I feel like he did.
Don't know.
I feel like he did.
It worked okay for Doohan.
Yeah.
Doohan started on soft, didn't he?
Yeah,
He was the only one that started on soft. Yeah.
Doohan and Lawson might have both been on soft.
Look, are you one stopped?
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea.
No, and it's one of those races where, unless you think to look for him,
he stopped on lap 32, he ran quite long. Sainz ran long at 33, so did Lawson, and Ocon ran at 32, with Antonelli, and Bortoletto running at 31 each. So
want some more sake there?
I just think, thank God it's gone. Bloody hell. Jesus.
So the beer's good, the sake no good?
Of course the beer's good. Like, imagine...
listen to you. Turn into a beer baron.
Like a beer connoisseur now. Like,
after the sake,
after having
a
shot glass of just unfiltered petrol.
Oh, dear. I need to get you some whiskey. We should be racing in Scotland. Where are we up to? Alonso, 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Alonso,
I've come to the resignation of this year. It's just,
This year?
It's just not happening.
This year could be his last.
It's just not happening.
Could be it.
Yeah, I said that, I
just want to remind you.
However, the silver lining to this is that Stroll is back.
Yes.
Like, he's back. He's back, fellas. I don't know who turned up round 3, but our man is 2 in 1. He's back. He's dead last. He scored nothing. It was an absolute nightmare.
And he's taken the interview.
Welcome back.
He's taken all the interview prompts from Alonso. So he's answering interviews the same way Alonso is at the moment. Giving
without
nothing.
any interest or no. Welcome back, Lance Stroll. Order is restored. And I think that's what makes me sleep better at night.
You start giving Lance credit, and then suddenly this appears. It's like, oh my God.
No, it's like someone's had a word to him. Do you know that you're speaking in press conferences and scoring points?
And he
It's
even
I'm sorry.
moved out of the way for the whole lead 3 cars down the straight.
I know. Okay, I think someone's pulled him aside and said, "Mate, what are you doing? What are you doing? This could be 3-point finishes in a row. What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry."
I have a reputation.
Yeah, I've got a reputation. Yeah, we've got standards here. We've got standards here at Aston Martin. I have heard on the grapevine though that Honda will have a say in who the drivers are. So
I'll be interested to see what that looks like.
It's more of a recommendation.
Feels like
that will
Lawrence is
that.
trying to get as many people.
Lawrence has sold.
To make some decisions.
Now Lawrence has sold.
No, he's bought.
He's sold a proportion of the Aston Martin.
Well, he brought pretty much all of it.
Well, a proportion of that was sold 5 days ago. A proportion of that was sold to Red Bull. It was $16.1 million.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if I've got
That's
that dollar
small,
amount
that's a
correct.
very small
Sorry,
amount.
it could be a lot more than that. I wanted to say billions, but I feel like that's too much. Anyway, a proportion of Aston Martin has been sold out of the team, and the comments from Lawrence was, "We are here for the long haul, and we will be competitive, and we will be competing for a long time." Because there was question marks about going, "Oh, hang on, with Honda coming in, are you jumping ship here?" But I just wonder if that's a little bit of sign to come that he's not going to have every single, final say in everything.
Well, there was suspicion that they brought Adrian Newey on as a shareholder so that he didn't have to be solely responsible for all these sort of decisions. So, yeah.
Anyway, so proportions being sold, Honda have come in. They're saying, we will give you recommendations on who we believe the 2 drivers should be, and then you'll have that final say. But the recommendations will be there.
I think he ended up with more than what he did have, though. But yeah.
I thought it was a difference. He sold part of one, the road car business.
I have to go back
put
and
it into the F1.
I have to go back
versa.
and have a look to exactly what and how much.
But, Yep. Yeah. The Alpines, holy moly. Let's go straight to the Jack. That was a big hit.
50G crash.
Oh. And all the angles that you get these days. And
fan cam behind was intense.
What's fan cam?
There was a video footage of a video footage of a fan in the grandstands catching that at full speed. It was as intense as Max at Silverstone.
Yeah,
if not more.
Yeah, I'd say more. Yeah,
huge.
It was massive. There was lots of stories going around about the cause of the crash.
Yeah,
he wasn't making the DRS switch happen on the simulator, and so he just got into that habit. I don't think it was deliberate. There was the stories of him saying, "Look, I could get away with it on the simulator, so I was going to try and get away with it here." Some drivers saying it was possible, others saying no way. It was an interesting one. It was a rookie error for a rookie.
He's not started the year well.
It was a second rookie error from the rookie.
It's not a good start. It's really not.
No, that's what I kept on saying to people.
No, he looks a little bit out of his depths at the moment.
Well,
he really does. He really does.
His practice stuff has been right up there with Gasly.
His practice has been pretty good.
His race was good.
I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Well, he was the only driver to pick up multiple positions. He picked up 5 in the end.
He doesn't look at home at the moment. He doesn't look comfortable.
See, I disagree with that. I think he looks really comfortable and then makes these out of the blue mistakes. I mean, we didn't see him for this one. I mean, Alpine, I understand the reasons. They needed to try out some new stuff on the car. They didn't want the rookie to do that. So it was bringing, they had already contracted that someone else is going to be driving the car because it was in Japan. I can't remember who it was. But I can understand, you've got to put Gasly in the car to do that. You've hired a driver, you've got to expect him to be able to make it work. And unfortunately, Jack wasn't able to make it work. But the way he turned his weekend around, moved through the field, I mean, he had a really challenging stint. 38 laps on a hard, while other cars around you were on faster tyres. He had a job to do, and he did. I thought he did the job really, really nicely come race time. But he's making these rookie mistakes, and he can't be doing that for his career.
No.
Thoughts on Jack?
Yeah, I think he's got one more race left if he doesn't really perform. And that's the rumour that he only had a 4-race
contract. I think it was.
5-race contract anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, he needs to pull them all out next.
Yeah,
race.
I think the race itself wouldn't have done him any damage.
If it is true that he's got a 5-race contract and that's it.
No, well, I don't think that's it.
If it is, though.
Yes.
If it is that it's 5 races, and even if it's 5 races and a revisitation of what we signed you for me, it's kind of over already. I just don't know. He's the rookie that doesn't look at home in the F1 field, which is harsh, but it's a harsh business, it's a harsh sport, but he just doesn't look ready. It just doesn't look ready. Bortoletto's doing his thing, but we understand that Kick Sauber is just nothing. The Alpine is still pretty handy. Like, it's not awful, but it's still pretty handy. I know his practice sessions are okay. Lawson's had his time and been kicked, but for the rest of the rookies, they all look at home, and he just doesn't look at home on the track.
So I disagree.
He really doesn't.
Come race time, he looked perfect. He looked fine.
4 spots is all he picked up. He qualified 19th.
No one else picked up more than 2.
But it kind of tells me he was out of position to begin with.
No one else picked up more than 2 in this challenging racetrack, and it was done through strategy.
Yeah,
but it was done, and he held it together really nice. I thought he looked really great through the race. I agree, he is making rookie errors, but it's not the rest of the time. The Australian practice, he looked right at home. He was looking really strong, and then the freak conditions, and it wasn't
for sure.
I won't put that on him.
No, me neither, because it was wet, and
so
everyone bit.
For me, he's made one huge error, but then he's picked it up through the race. Last week, he wasn't brilliant around China, but yeah, it was. You've got to expect a few poorer results here and there. So yeah, I'm with you. I think he's under pressure, absolutely, but I don't think it's looking quite as bad as what
we mentioned. The revolving doors at Red Bull. Alpine's revolving doors are bigger than Red Bull's are. With the amount of personnel that have been out in the last 3 or 4 years, it's anyone in any position at any given day.
It's not always their choice, though.
No, I know.
People generally just leave them.
Yeah,
it's not so much them kicking people out.
Unless
you're in management.
Yeah.
They like kicking managers.
I hope he does well, just purely for the biased Australian factor. I hope that he does really well. But as I said, he just looks out of order.
Hulkenberg 16th, and Bortoletto 19th.
Yeah.
And I think we've mentioned everyone else.
Yep.
Let's go on a 3, 2, and 1. Thanks to all signs. Who's your 3? Yes, your 3, 2, and 1 this week. It's exciting, isn't it? I'll start.
Okay.
Max deserves 3 points for me. I thought it was a flawless weekend, and he was the difference. So yeah, 3 points for Max, and we probably don't give him enough points because he is just he is in a world of his own at the moment with his talent. I think 2 points for me. I think it has to go to Antonelli. I was impressed with Antonelli's weekend.
Okay.
I thought it was just a really, really solid weekend out. I thought he wasn't getting it all his own way, but made the changes required. And I'm going to give 1 to Hadjar. Hadjar, once again, really solid. Shane?
I gave 3 to Max. It's obvious. I think, he's just driving that car above its ability, I guess.
Yep.
Fantastic race. Hadjar, I gave the 2. And look, he looked in trouble in qualifying when he had his belt problems.
Oh, yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that.
So, he was in pain. He was screaming out, and I thought he's going to stuff this up, and Lawson's going to beat him.
You know what the belt was pressing on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a gentleman jewels. That's not a good way to be driving a race car, a Formula 1 race car.
It was just strange that it's just happened
now,
not in anything other time.
I didn't hear why in the end, but it was, because he was
a loose seat was the...
Oh, right, because he was apologising because he wasn't going to be able to drive it fast enough.
Yeah, it was a loose seat.
And then he held it together, qualified well, and then raced fantastically. So 2 for him. I had originally written down like Albon as the 1, but probably in further reflection, you probably have to say Antonelli. So, and then of course you miss out on someone like George or Charles who have done very well anyway. But I'm going to change that to Kimi. Yeah,
Alex. Yeah, I thought was been pretty decent as well. Well, he's been very good actually this year, Alex. Tristan, over to you.
3 to Max, 2 to Hadjar, and 1 to Yuki.
3. Oh, hang on, so it's 9 to Max. Oh, need Sam here. 9 to Max. 2 to
Hadjar.
2 to Hadjar.
And 1 to Yuki.
And 1 to Yuki. Oh, yeah, okay.
Because we said do better, and he did better.
You got a low bar. You can't be better than last.
Correct. Correct.
All right. Dud of the day. Who's your dud of the day?
Dud of the day goes to Formula One and whoever is running their YouTube page, who seem to find a way to clip together 8 minutes and 12 seconds of highlights. I haven't watched it yet.
Hang on, that should be a hero of the hour.
I can't imagine.
Imagine having that job. That's hero of the hour.
I can't imagine where you can even sell 8 minutes and 12 seconds of Japanese highlights.
I liked your clip.
Oh, I'll see if I can find it and I'll play it. Because
no, because it's no good.
No, I'll play it.
Copyright reasons.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
And so
I think it's just off a fan
Tristan
page.
Maybe it's 8 minutes of all their costumes.
I think it's just off a fan page.
Tristan sent me a meme, and
it's just a fan page.
It was
I'm going to play
lights out, and here we go.
I'll credit whoever it is. It's from Inside the Halo on Instagram. Let me see if I can find it.
Japanese Grand Prix is underway. It's side by side. Max Verstappen wins.
That is the highlight package.
But
that was 4 seconds.
the footage to go with it.
That was 4 seconds. So thanks to Inside the Halo, whoever that is on Instagram. I love that. That was it. That is the race highlight. So if you think you can sit down on YouTube and sell to me that there are 8 minutes and 12 seconds of highlights, there is bloody not.
No, I think they deserve hero of the hour.
I haven't watched it
the
yet.
People editing it,
but I'm hoping that there are 8 minutes and 10 seconds of ads.
We actually didn't touch on the pit exit incident.
Wasn't it incident? He drove off the grass and he probably deactivated the pit limiter too early, as Max alluded to. Surprised it didn't get looked at.
I don't understand why people think that he deactivated it earlier.
No,
because he took off next to Max.
He took off behind him and then caught him before the control line.
I don't think it was that far off.
I think it was a fair question to ask.
But yeah, I'm with you. It was a non-incident. It was absolutely you're going to go for it.
Yep.
Max doesn't have to move over for him.
Yep.
There was nothing dangerous. Play on, but that was the sort of race it was.
No,
Don't make a deal of it.
That's my dad. My dad is the race
Who's your
highlights.
dad, Shane?
McLaren strategists.
Oh, okay. Just for not trying something.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the data was there for Russell, and they should have left Lando out there, or at least given Oscar that chance. So, yeah, that's my data of the day.
Okay. We had a certain commentator come and join.
Oh, now this is going to be controversial.
We had a certain commentator come and join the commentary team. What was his name again?
Jacques.
Jacques. I like saying the word Jacques. Unfortunately, Jacques' voice is the most annoying voice that you could
Brittany's probably a bit worse.
That you could ever have in your ears. He is such a negative Nancy. And it's just the flow between Crofty and Jacques. Now, we can say what we want about Crofty, but Crofty's there. The relationship between those two was non-existent. It was such a painful team to listen to throughout a Grand Prix. And for me, Shane and I have already had a disagreement about this. He was not following what was going on and what information was there. He was sticking, he had an idea in his head and he found all the evidence to support his idea, but the evidence wasn't necessarily there. And all of these things that he was saying, people kept on telling him why that wasn't going to be possible, but he just ignored it and keep on going with it. Jacques Villeneuve, I cannot deal with him again if Martin's not there. He did my head in.
I like the fact that he pulled up Crofty on his McLaren Lando bias.
That part I didn't have a problem with.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actually would give him a sneaky hero of the hour because his brutal honesty about what was unfolding in the race was actually spot on.
Yep.
When Crofty's there crying out and all the commentators like, oh my God, they're going to do this, they're going to switch. And then you have Jacques go, no, they're not. And then they didn't. And most of what he said was actually spot on, and nothing transpired.
The issue with that, though, is Crofty's trying to turn a non-interesting race, but don't hit me here.
I'm not
because I'm with you. But Crofty's job is to try and bring
his job. I agree with you. It's his job.
His job is to bring the watcher along
Yep.
for the race because nothing is happening. So he has to bring every scenario to the table.
Yep.
And Jacques was just knocking him down straight away. But he just is not that person. Expert person from a side, maybe. The fact that he backs in Stroll as a brilliant driver, he loses all credit for somebody who should be there.
Correct for that comment.
He is, but that is typical him. He gets himself, and he's a bit of a shock jock. He gets himself an idea, and he finds all the evidence to support it, whether it is actually there or not.
I thought he turned the shock jock off for the race. Though,
Yes, no, for the race, yeah, absolutely. For the race he
yeah.
did for this one, because maybe that's what they said, look, we don't need that, even though Crofty encouraged it at one point. But yeah, look, it was not a marriage.
No, but for anything for me, it highlighted the drama that comes with Formula One that doesn't exist, like we see in Netflix too. And I get Crofty's there to do his job and to bring that audience along,
and it is
to
so
spark
important,
interest, which is super important because you have to tune in and be like, "Ooh, hang on, is he seeing something I'm not seeing? Is this going to happen?" But then I really did. A part of me appreciated the brutal honesty of him, just going, no, they're not.
He's the sort of guy that
Because
you'd be
it was
happy to
spot on.
sit and watch a race with.
Absolutely.
You just don't need him being the commentator, being the person who's going to tell that story, because
I thought he was quite good.
Oh,
I look forward to
If
him.
you package what he said into someone else's voice, then
there might have been some improvements.
Yep.
Yeah, like, there was a few moments where he was just really caught on an idea that he'd stuck with.
Yep.
And even though he'd been shown by many different people, Davison and a few other people, and then he would just still stick with it.
Yep.
It was just anyway.
Hey, I've got a
Don't
hero.
need it.
I've got a hero of the
Yes.
hour for you. An actual one.
Mm-hmm.
An actual one.
Hit
And
me.
it's the livery cruise for the weekend.
Oh,
Because the White Bull was spectacular.
gorgeous.
In every way, shape and form.
Gorgeous.
And I mean spectacular. Even the Haas was brilliant in the daylight.
Until it... No,
I thought it was all...
I thought it was really cool in all the promo stuff.
I thought it was sensational.
Put it on track and it just looked a bit blur.
And credit to Steak, because I legitimately thought that they were rolling out with a steak livery.
Wagyu.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because I looked at that and I was so hyped by the Haas.
Even though you knew that April Fool's
Even though
was
I
on
knew it
the
was
table.
April Fool's, because the Haas dropped and I was like, this is unreal. And then the White Bull dropped and I was like, this is even better. And then they turn up moments later with a Wagyu steak. And I thought, you've got to be joking me. Can this team be any stupider? And they had me. Like, I was starting to make a post for our socials ready to go, because I had... Like, my blinkers were on.
I actually had to
My
check
blinkers were
to
on.
see whether you
I
had.
was like, hang on. Is this... I always catch myself.
You wanted to
before
believe,
I
didn't you?
did. I did for a moment. I believed. I was furious. I showed my other half. I'm like, look at this thing. And she was like, that's all right. I was like, oh, no, don't.
No, because you couldn't tell that it
I
was
know.
a
I
Wagyu.
couldn't tell anyway. I literally... Yeah, so well
The problem
done.
was they didn't include enough fat through the steak.
It
for a
looked-
Wagyu.
But it was believable, because it was the dumbest thing in the world, and they're just not a team at the moment, and it was just... Anyway, I loved it. And it was momentary after the two great ones. Anyway... Liveries were unreal. So good. If anyone from Ferrari is listening, which I doubt they are,
get rid of the white.
this is what
Yeah.
a special livery looks like. It is special.
Yeah.
And that you're just like, remember that time.
But even their current livery, lose the white.
Yeah. Yeah, remember when we went to Miami? See, Ferrari's special liveries are special for the wrong reason, because they're just ridiculous. And they don't... Remember that time we went to Miami and they're like, oh, bit of blue?
I do.
And you're like, is that it? They do special wrong.
They do racing wrong at the moment.
They
too.
do a lot wrong at the moment, don't they?
F1.5.
Oh,
There's not too much to talk about. Not too much to report on yet.
no, because we're still in exploration phase. That's what I like to call it.
Are you getting clearer in where we need to be?
Yes, I am.
I think it's fairly clear.
I think the seat swap has made that a little bit hazy, because I was very happy to include Lawson in that. But I'll need a little bit more. I'll need a couple
Yuki or
more
not?
weeks to put Yuki in, or
Oh,
not. I'm
yeah.
not quite
Okay.
sure. So,
Okay.
anyway, but look, at the moment, you can say McLaren won't be part of it. Mercedes won't be part of it. Red Bull, well, one of the Red Bulls won't be part of it. We'll wait and see what Yuki does. But you could probably confidently say no. And then the Ferraris, you could say no. And then so it could really, for all the hype... Don't pour me one of those, please. For all...
You want another sake, anyone?
No, thank you.
For all the hype, we could just be back to
good old
what we
days.
had last year, which is fine.
No, but this is
Which
where
is
it
what it's
started,
all
isn't it?
about.
I think
It's
it all
what it's
started
all
this
about.
way. Oh no, McLaren was originally part of it.
Yeah, that was a while ago. So anyway, that's what it's looking like for F1.5.
Fantasy. Tell me it's a good week.
Let's get into fantasy. It's an all right week. It's a break even week. Now, while I get fantasy up, I want both of you boys to get predict up, because we're going through predict. Because I remembered this week. So
Well, Shane hasn't done it, have you?
because
No.
No, you
haven't
didn't.
done
You
it.
say okay. Shane
No.
hasn't done it. You
No.
could sort of follow along with us, Shane, while we're doing it. Anyway, thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art for being an incredible sponsor of this this year's competition. As always, top 3 in fantasy will take home some terrific street art, Formula One art of chassis, driver, anything that tickles your fancy. If you are our top 3 finishes in this year. So thanks again to Chris. Get around his Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, all of his socials.
Shane, what
and
iconic
whatnot.
moment would you like Chris
Shane.
to paint?
Oh, gee.
He does do old,
He does do old.
considering you're very old.
I'm very old. I would love to see a Gilles Villeneuve Ferrari sideways would be a great one.
Ooh.
That's going way back. Even one with like the when you drove it in on 3 wheels or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, they look those those cars back in the
Yep.
early 80s, late 70s. They look pretty cool,
Yep.
especially one of them sideways, or a Seb one.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's
there's
fair.
plenty of good too. I reckon Sam's got a nice Seb one actually.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks to Chris. It'd be be good to see. Did you know, Shane, that if Chris finishes top 10 in fantasy, that the great man here will be creating a piece of art for Chris for the first time? What would you like to see him create, knowing that
My art skills
he's
are
just nothing short of trash at drawing sticks?
I'm trying to look at what he puts on the
I'm
whiteboard.
just saying, just what would you like to see him draw?
I'm the
driver?
first to say I'm the worst
Do you want to
artist in the
see
world.
him draw a car? Like, what do you want to see him draw? Because, like, come on, Chris. Like, my God. Top 10 is all he's got to finish. We decided that last week. I say we, and I mean I did.
And so you're going to paint this, Roger?
Well, we hadn't got that far, but I like that as a
I'm going
suggestion.
to do an art piece for him
Because my little boy
and
has
send
paints.
it to him.
I reckon Roger could do like a macaroni one where they glue
Oh,
the part.
glue and then a bit of glue. Can I borrow the glue? Can I borrow the glitter? No, you can't.
It's probably not bad,
That's
actually.
a good, though, because that's up your skill set. I
No,
like that.
I wouldn't be able to achieve that.
Absolutely. No, you'd need to be heavily supervised.
I need time to draw an outline.
You
for me.
would. Anyway, Japanese Grand Prix round. I'll find you, Shane, while you're here. I had not a great week, but that's fine. I finished in 35th position with 140 points. Ugh, I'm not rapt about that, but that's all right. I did well last year,
Stinker,
so it's
stinker.
a stinker. You finished in 11th. You had a great week, which compounds that misery.
Yes.
You had 161,
Look at me go.
161 points this week, so you were equal 11th. That makes me sick to say that. And then if we go all the way down, how did you go, Shane? If I let you know,
no.
there you are,
No.
23rd. That's all right. You did better than I
Really?
did. So 148
That's not
points for
saying much.
yourself. A lot of people hitting the Limitless tab really, really, really early.
Remind me, what does that do?
That's where you just get unlimited money and you can have both the Ferraris, you can have both the Red Bulls, you can
Ooh.
have both the McLarens, you can have all the chassis you like in the world.
Okay.
So a couple of people are hitting that quite early as well. So anyway, that's where we are for Japanese Grand Prix. If we go all races, I am sitting in 25th position on 470 points. So that's not too bad. I think you're a couple ahead of me from last
Am I?
week when I saw, again, it's not a
Ooh,
great
look at
episode.
this.
But it's not dire. That's why I'm happy to be part of this week's episode, because it's not horrific. Right, 23rd. So you're literally 2 points ahead of me. That's pretty even this year. I don't know if you've got better or if I've got worse.
I've paid more attention, put it that way.
I know I've probably paid a little bit less attention, so it's a bit of both.
There you
So
go.
you're on 472 in 23rd, and I'm on 470 in 25th
God,
position.
imagine if my Australian... Remember when I was driving in the Australia
Yes.
after qualifying, I was all up and about because
Yes.
pretty much everyone was in the right spots,
That's
and then
right. And then it
it
all
rained.
fell apart, didn't you?
I'd be on top if
could,
that happened.
That could come back and save me. My no negatives in there. And then if we'll find you, Shane, as we go down.
May need to scroll down.
Okay,
a long way.
we'll keep scrolling down. We're going to 39. There you are, 40. Footwork Ford. How did you come to that name, Shane?
Just one of the old 90s team.
Good.
I actually
Is
wanted,
it?
Is
the footwork was there
Footwork.
for a little bit. I wanted to go a 40 Ford, but someone already had that.
Bastards.
I think they had a Ford engine, but yeah, there was a footwork
Yeah.
team for a while.
So 369 you sit on in 40th place. However, if you did well last year, this is where we're kind of falling down, because I'm looking above you there, Shane. Chloe Anderson, who was a top 5 finisher, I think, last year, 37th position. Not happening. David Rojas was right up there last year, 30th position. Not happening. Laws Van der Veer, I think he finished like top 3 or something like that. 28th position. So it's very much a year for the rookies in fantasy.
Well,
it seems.
There's a certain Roman Merrick.
Roman Merrick just doing his thing.
Fifth.
Just ticking away doing his thing. The Max Verstappen of our fantasy. Anyway, top 10 looks a little bit like this. Josh Lynch on 690 leads all comers. David Parsons in second place on 643. Andy Tails in third position on 628. Richard Davis, 621. Roman Merrick, 599. Rex Ashley in sixth place on 596. Julian Dyer, 591 in seventh. Nicola Taylor and Paul Cook finishing 8th and 9th with 589 and 586. And Dean Holt rounds the top 10 in 578. The man we're watching, which is Chris.
Where is he?
16th.
Ooh.
On the bubble. Just on the bubble. Yeah, jeepers.
Oh, that's
Get
annoying.
your texters and your glitter out because I'm feeling good about this one.
Oh, that's annoying.
Anyway, so that's F1 fantasy for this round.
How's the other reserve driver?
Yep.
Sam.
Oh,
is in
yes.
48th on 278 points.
Well,
Floggy's not even trying.
Bunny is what we refer to him now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's true.
You'll have to
Oh,
give
Bunny
yourself
boy.
a real sort of fancy name, Shane, now that you hit. Because Sam, like...
He tried to nickname himself
Just-
the reserve driver, but he's now Bunny, isn't he?
Well, that's what Sam, because just walked in and
Yep.
was pretty much...
Yep.
I don't know, he nearly sat down in your chair.
Yes.
And I was like,
Yep.
hang on.
Yep. That's
Hang on.
right. No one sits in
No one sits in that chair. Like, what are you doing? So you'll have to give yourself some sort of... like,
what could it
catch
be?
Cry, like, do you want an entrance song?
Oh, yeah.
An entrance
As you
song.
come into the studio?
Yeah, now we're talking.
Put me
Anyway,
on the spot.
It's a dull episode.
want to think of one.
We've got
Well,
time. We've got time.
We've got an hour. We're an hour and 20 in. I'm not sure what we're
I
speaking
don't
about.
know an hour and 20 of that's been Formula One talk. Let's jump into predict while Shane brainstorms a nickname for himself. I remembered this week, so well done to me. How many points did you score from Japan?
You tell me first.
I
while
scored
open it up.
41. I can't find yours. So we'll go through...
60...
Oh, that makes me sick.
No, 56.
Oh, yeah, well, that's all right. So predict the podium. I had... Oscar, George, and Lando. I got 2 of the 3 out of that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, cool. I'm up on George here. Who'll take pole? I had Oscar,
Me too.
which, yeah, kind of was correct. Where will science finish? I had Q2.
Me too.
Oh, God. There you go. Who'll qualify highest? Yuki or Lawson? I had Yuki.
Me too.
Yep, okay. Well, this is what a riveting segment this is. Who'll finish the race ahead? I had Yuki.
Me too.
Oh, God. Haas? For
Me?
the constructor in...
Haas or Aston for
Yep.
who will be
Yeah,
ahead
I
in the
went
championship.
Haas. Yeah,
Yep, me
yeah,
too.
Okay, wow, awesome. I had Hadjar. No, I had Bortoletto. Sorry,
Oh, that was a
finishing ahead.
Really?
Yeah, that's a.
Hang on.
I don't-
Hadjar is your man.
I know. I think I've just totally got that wrong
Oh,
because
well,
I double
I got that one right.
and I double activated that too. So I think I've botched that one there. Which
Well,
is,
Bortoletto's worth more points, so you might have been
I might
sucking
have
in with
got
good
sort of,
odds.
Yeah, starry-eyed at like 100 points. I had Lando for fastest lap.
I had Oscar.
Okay, and I had classified finishes as 18th.
18
18,
finishes.
sorry,
yeah,
18
me too.
finishes, yeah. Oh, God.
Yep.
And will there be a safety car?
Yes.
I actually went yes, because let's be honest, the entire circuit was on fire for 5 days.
Yes.
So I thought, why not go
I
6?
couldn't agree more.
And then it rained. So
Yeah.
anyway, who would have thought? Right, well, there you go. There's Predict. Gee, if you were hanging out for that, for this week's episode.
We're
sorry.
thinking to alike, and I don't like it.
Sorry.
Any news? Any news that you want to discuss?
No, I don't.
Nothing.
No, I don't have any news.
It's a triple header,
It is a triple header.
which is good because we can put that race behind us.
I think Sam mentioned that last week, and then we shot him down horribly, like, you idiot. No, it's not. But
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I feel like my gut tells me we did do that.
I go back through the script. I'll see. It might have been you.
We have a
You do
script.
these things.
Do we
a
have
lot.
a script, do we?
Well, if you follow along and listen to our episodes, you can actually get a
Transcript.
translation. Of,
Can you?
Yeah.
Do you, when you wake after
That's
you
how I
listen to
find out
us-
the exact things that you say, and I record them down for things you get
right.
wrong.
Is that what you do, Shane? Like, after you listen to us, put you to sleep? Do you get up in the morning,
And then reads
like a
what we
morning
have to say.
newspaper, and read our transcript?
No, it might just set the next night's episode to maybe
Oh.
10 minutes in.
Oh,
and
that's
go that way.
good.
Yeah, he catches us across the week.
That is good.
One sleep at a time.
There is a little bit of news
yeah.
because Felipe Drugovich will step into FP1 this week for Fernando. So that's just
Oh,
come
well, that's
through.
good, because
That's
Fernando
just-
can't really be bothered anyway.
No, well, that's correct. Yeah, so that's sort of come through at the moment. That's sort of the only news that I have there. To
Yeah,
be brutally honest,
I
it's a
think-
low news
Well,
week.
that's generally the way when we're in the middle of...
On a Tuesday, yeah.
Adrian Newey has been summoned by Aston Martin to rescue the car. So they just rather than sticking to the plan of you just focus on 26, my friend. Like, no, you better come in and give us a hand because we actually don't know what's going on with this car.
Right.
Turns out,
yeah, Lance's scoring points come in now.
I mean, well, he obviously
Now.
came in before last
Right
week.
now, come in because Lance is scoring points and finishing in top 10.
anything, Shane, you want to bring up news-wise?
Nothing.
Can I
No.
just bring up how many ants are in the studio this week?
There are a lot. In fact, one of the PowerPoints has stopped working because there's ants in it. It's okay. It's under control. I'm on holidays. I'll sort it out. We're going to Bahrain, which is where all the testing was done. So all of a sudden, teams are going to a place that they know quite well.
There you go.
We've been to China, which is a bit of an outlier. Australia's very outlier. Suzuka's quite an outlier. So we're going to start to see a bit of an indication as to where these teams are at.
How close do you think?
Bahrain is actually a bit of an outlier compared to some of the tracks, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's not exactly a true indication, but at least the teams can do some measuring
I
to
would
where
be
they
really
are.
interested to know if there's anyone out there. I feel like this is a Sam thing to do. That if we went through the fastest laps of every team from testing and then we finish on Sunday, I wonder
That won't be hard to
I
find.
wonder how close that would be. No, I've got it
I'd
here
say
in
a
front of me.
long way off.
A long way off, you reckon?
Well, who really goes all out?
Well, that's
at
just
testing?
out of interest sake. Like, I would be keen to see.
But
how,
we're also 3 weeks into understanding cars better
yeah,
too.
I'd be keen to see how accurate that sort of like Gasly for a conversation's sake did a 1 minute 30.04. So I wonder if he'll replicate that on Sunday.
I think he'll beat it.
Probably.
Although it's a bit about conditions, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it was, by memory, it was wet for one of the testing days, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
a little bit colder in winter.
So yeah. What's your prediction for Bahrain?
I think it has to be an Oscar win, to be quite honest.
Okay.
It really does. Like, he needs to bank that early. Yeah, so it'll be an Oscar win. And I want to say something ridiculous like a Yuki top 5.
Ooh, I like it.
I think I'm just going to keep throwing it out there until it happens, to be
I like
quite
it.
honest. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to go Yuki top 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Shane?
Well, my fingers crossed that it's going to be an Oscar win. Yeah, but I can't see it happening. I think Lando will get
You
preference.
stole my... Well, I think Lando just doesn't seem quite as comfortable yet this year. Whereas I think he looked fairly strong at testing. I think he's going to be able to fall back on some of the information he has from there. So I'm going to go Lando win for an unexpected result. What will we see?
An unexpected result would be something like... it'd be something like...
Well,
the
your Yuki to the top
My
5's
Yuki
unexpected.
top 5? What about
See,
a
Red Bull
Williams?
really
Well,
struggled through testing, didn't they?
They did.
But I feel like they've learnt a lot
As
since
you
then.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
A 129.5 was Max's fastest lap.
All right, I'm going to go for an unexpected result.
Yep.
Hamilton not to make the top 10.
Yep, that's...
Out of the points. I think it's going to only get worse for him for a little bit.
But he should have a little bit. He should be a little bit more in tune with the car and the
He
circuit
should be.
it's driven at. So
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot that are going to improve more than Hamilton. I feel like there's a lot that are...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of rookies out there that's going to be better for this run already.
Yep.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Do you like Bahrain? You like going to Bahrain to race?
You know what? After what I've come off, I'd sit down and cheer on a round at Sochi, to be quite honest. And you know I despise everything about it, so that's a loaded question. You're gaslighting me there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because
In terms of the hype, it's a non-hype event, isn't it?
yeah.
Like Jeddah actually comes with a little bit of hype because of the high-speed nature of Jeddah. And I mean, I know you like Jeddah, but it's still a bit like both these rounds are a bit meh. It's like there's nothing really that comes with them. There's no history or anything like that. It's not a bad racetrack, though, the Bahrain racetrack. You generally get a bit of a race out of it. It's under lights, which plays a bit of havoc with teams because they like it to be a little bit warmer than that for the tyre setup. I'll be interested to see after... I mean, tyres are already set because they're all there already, but
Yeah.
after the non-event of tyres at Suzuka, they'd want to get them right this time round. Do you like Bahrain, Shane?
nah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. It just blends into other tracks. Yeah,
Yeah, you'd replace it in a heartbeat with a decent track, wouldn't you? But it's on the grid. It's not going anywhere anytime soon because there's lots of oil money that makes sure it's
There's a lot
there.
of money there.
Yeah, so anyway, we'll but it's back to late night racing, which we've all agreed is probably better for us.
Better for us.
Turns out
lives,
we spend our whole lives hoping for a decent time to watch a race. I actually watch lots of races at decent times, but it just feels like it gets in the way of your things.
I'm always looking up my shoulder like, where's my 4-year-old?
Whereas if it's on at a ridiculous time, you can put all that away and watch it when it suits you.
Sleep.
Yeah, so that'll be.
What is your ideal time?
My ideal time to watch for a race to start turns out it was the 10 o'clock start.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. So
11's an hour too late.
Yeah, because you got to find something to do. You got to fill that void. So you've had tea, everyone's gone to bed.
Yep. Which
is
is
9.
It's when it used to always start.
Yeah.
9 o'clock was all right, but I miss a little bit of the pre-race, which doesn't stress me too much.
No, true. And I can't sit through all the little gimmicks before the pre-race.
Yep.
So then from 10 to 11, there's not much to do.
Nah, probably 9 o'clock actually. 9 p.m.
I'm a 10. I think 10's. I can set myself
that
up.
was when it always was,
There's
back
some
when
snacks,
races started at the right time.
Bit of pre-show.
What's your favourite, Shane?
Well, yeah, those 10 o'clock days are gone, so I guess if,
I reckon Singapore's the only one that starts at 10 for us.
Yes, with a couple.
So out of all the sort of European start times, I actually don't mind 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Get up, get out of the way. See, when I'm not watching live, I'll start a race at 5 a.m. and that generally gets me through. If there's a red flag, I do have to fast forward the red flag with the risk of it extending out.
Yes, or missing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then because that generally gets me finished just before 7. Podium generally happens at 7, which is when I kick into dad mode and cooking breakfast and making lunches and that sort of stuff. And so, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I love starting a week watching Formula One, so don't have a big problem with it. Very good, thank you, boys. We'll be discussing Bahrain in no time. Between now and then, we'll have Fan Frenzy coming out as well. But until then, goodbye now.